Hey, hello. Thanks for taking 5 with me, Wolf Gorlek, a few minutes riffing on IT and IT security. Today, taking a look at a zero-day exploit in Windows that's being used right now in targeted attacks. We're going to come right back to that, but first, let's talk a little bit about typography. If you've seen me speak, if you've seen my decks, you've seen that very stylized font faces I use. I really like good typography. And I was really excited to be watching the season 2 of Abstract on Netflix because they feature Jonathan Hoffler. Jonathan Hoffler, if you want to go check it out, is the person who owns Typography.com, has done a ton for typefaces. Now, what's interesting about that is if you purchase a font from Typography.com, if you ask me for my slides and I send them to you, you get this TTF file, right? This font file. And one of the things that can be easy to forget is that it's a data file. It's a data file like anything else. And what that means is anytime you've got a data file, anytime you're exchanging data, and this is a tip for you, anytime you're exchanging data, you have the possibility for the parser of that data to mess up, right? To have an exploit, to have a vulnerability. And if that vulnerability is severe enough, if that vulnerability is in the right place, if the bad guys get a little lucky, you can have a zero-day exploit that leads to remote code execution. That's exactly what happened within Microsoft Windows Adobe Type Manager library. So in their Adobe Type Manager library, which processes fonts, there is an exploit that allows the bad guys to do code execution. So they send you a document that has one of these fonts in it, and you either see it in a preview pane or you download it and open it. Any number of normal things that we do all the time, right? We click, as Wendy Nather is want to say, the internet is made for clicking. We click and we open stuff, and in Windows, normal way of being Windows, it tries to help. And it does so by rendering the document, and to do so, it renders the font, which means it calls Adobe Type Manager. And in this particular instance, right now, as I'm recording this video, the criminals are able to embed bad fonts that allow them to then execute code to do things such as run things under your permissions, install malware, potentially do ransomware, all the bad stuff that normal guys do, right? We want to run bad code. We want to get onto your box. We want to do things from there. So what can you do about this? Well, there is an advisory up on Microsoft's website that you can take a look at. Thankfully, right now, it's not widespread. Again, targeted attacks. But as we've seen quite frequently, the criminals start with the targeted attacks and then kind of move downstream and start commoditizing whatever vulnerabilities they have. So I imagine that's going to happen soon. Hopefully not before Microsoft gets a patch out. Take a look at the advisory. One of the things that you can do is unregister this library. So you can unregister atmfd.dll, atmfd.dll. Again, this is in the advisory. You can unregister it, rename it, and that way if the font comes down, there's no DLL to process it. Therefore, the attack goes no further. The problem with that, of course, is anything else that has any sort of custom fonts, including slide decks you might get from me, no longer work. It's a trade-off, as security always is. But take a look at the advisory. Know what's going on there. Think about every single data file we come into our network as a potential attack vector. It's something very easy to forget, and that's how we get something like malicious font files. And if you got some time during quarantine and chill, check out Abstract on Netflix. Highly recommend it in that episode on the font face for Jonathan Hoffler. What are you doing in this time to stay sharp, to stay educated, and to not be bored? Comments, social media, hit me up.